Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. Today's video, I'm talking about some recent horror reads. You know what? I actually read, how many books? I read 4 books in November. So, there you go. I am the queen of reading. First book I read in November is Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. This book is thick
as fuck.
So this story was really unique because it centered on a actress who is kind of down on her luck. She experienced something horrible back in her country of Ireland, where she was a popular rising star, and then she decided to leave, move to LA, try to make it there, and it's not going well. Then one day she receives a call back home from a production company that are looking to replace the lead actress in their horror film. They want her to play the part. She takes the job because she's desperate. She thinks it's a great opportunity to restart her career, but when she gets there, she realizes that things are a bit sketchy. She's the only one working on set as an actor, and she's surrounded by men in this production company, and something's off. I love the concept of someone filming a horror movie. I love the setting, this isolated setting in the middle of the snowy winter in a cabin where strange things have happened, and there's kind of a meta aspect to it. She's reading the script from the movie that she's being in, so you're also getting to read that script as well as her inner dialogue. What I really liked is that the author explored the difficulties that women face within the industry, and it kind of touches upon the Me Too movement and just how horrifying it is to imagine yourself in a situation in the middle of nowhere with no cell reception, being the only woman on a set with all men you don't really know. And it was so scary and unsettling in that sense, because that's a fearful situation. You don't know who to trust, and I just loved that it explored that. And that stuff was scary to me because it felt like real horror. And also there's this looming mystery in the air, and she starts experiencing weird things within the cabin that she's staying in that are kind of reflective of the movie that she's acting in. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's really unique. I found the ending to be predictable as I read on, but I still really enjoyed the journey. I thought it was an incredibly fun, entertaining read. I liked the main character a lot too. I think this was really fun, and I want to read more from Catherine Ryan Howard. She has another book called Rewind that I think is also focused on film in some aspect that I really want to check out. So I would highly recommend this. I'm not like an avid thriller reader. It might be predictable to some, but I really enjoyed it and think it's fun. Predictable isn't always bad, guys. Then I read Reception by Kenzie Jennings. This book was so much fun, and if you loved horror movies like Ready or Not, you will love this book. So it's a novella, it's very short, quick read, and it's about this woman who is experiencing a traumatic event, and she's trying to deal with her anxiety, and she's in like a facility to get better. And she leaves the facility to attend her sister's wedding at this remote hotel, and she doesn't really get along with her sister's fiance. His family is kind of loud, boisterous. There's a lot to them, and it's stressing her out. The story halfway through turns very dark, and some cannibals show up. It's just a thrill ride from that point on. I really loved this story because I loved the main character. She was so easy to connect with, and her relationship with her sister, exploring that dynamic, they felt real, and I loved connecting with them. So when stuff goes wrong, I just really wanted them to be okay. And when the stuff goes wrong, it's super violent and gruesome, but also darkly funny at times. And then there's a bit of a twist or reveal towards the end that I thought was really well done. And overall, I thought this was a really fun, entertaining horror novella that you all need to read, especially if you're fans of Ready or Not. Then I picked up The Circle by Bentley Little, which is another novella. So I randomly picked this up while I was thrifting for books, and I had never read Bentley Little before, so I was like, let me start here. And this is essentially 3 different stories that intertwine together in some way. And it's about this small little neighborhood, a circle, I think it's called The Circle, and all these horrible things are happening one night. So the first story centers on a woman who gets a mysterious knock on her door from this little boy who shits diamonds. That is the premise of this story. It's really weird and over the top bonkers. The second story is centered on a group of teenage boys who hear of this shrine in this woman's backyard that can grant wishes. So they go there to wish for a girlfriend or a girl, and it goes horribly wrong. And then the third story is following an adult, a father of one of these children, who is prowling the same neighborhood with his dog, and he stumbles upon this shrine as well, and he visits the woman who lives in the house where this shrine is. And the whole story, all three stories are very weird. It's pretty fast paced, like it jumps right into the action immediately. And the first story, it was just so weird, like a kid shitting diamonds and rubies and all this stuff, and then it's just gross. The second story I thought was interesting, but there's some sexual stuff that happens which really kind of bothered me because they're kids. So I didn't understand that, but I liked the whole shrine aspect of it, the coming of age shrine story. And then the third story was really creepy as well, and it was cool how it all tied together. It wasn't as dark and disturbing as I expected for Bentley Little, because I've always heard his stuff is like intense and over the top. I would consider it pretty tame, but for a quick short read, it was fun. It was enjoyable. And then I finished off the month with, I think, one of my favorite books of the year. I'm adding it to the list of favorites of 2022, and that is The Vessel by Adam Nevill. So this is the first Adam Nevill book I've ever read, and I loved it so much. It's a novella. It's very short. The story centers on this woman who's kind of down on her luck. She's a single mother. She's going through something with her ex, and she lives in this crappy apartment that she's trying to get out of, and she takes this job sitting for an elderly woman with dementia, and the hours are kind of crappy, and the woman is she's a mess, and she's not kind to her. She needs the job, so she takes it. And the job just gets increasingly weirder with this woman as she explores her home and uncovers this woman's history and dark past, and strange stuff starts happening to this woman. This one is just so good. It's very folky, folk horror. It's very short and cinematic. It reads like a movie, and when I read the author's note, it initially started as a screenplay, so that makes sense, but I guess this is different than how Nevill normally writes, but I really loved it. It was so creepy. The connections between the female characters was so intense, and what happens throughout the story as the situation escalates for this woman, it's just sad and horrifying, and her relationship with her ex-husband, who was abusive, so there's a lot of abuse stuff in this, trigger warning, that it's really hard to read about, but you just feel for this woman because she's trying her best and she's struggling, and I just feel like it's so relatable. We've all been in a situation like that where we feel like we can't escape, and this woman is just, she finds a way to escape. It's dark, it's bleak, but also heartwarming and powerful and uplifting to it as well. It's just like there's so much that happens in this short amount of time, but I loved it so much. I love the imagery, the story, everything, the messaging, the themes. This book is amazing, incredible. I'm pretty sure I rated it 5 stars. It's a new favorite. Loved it. Highly recommend it, especially if you love like folk horror. And there you have it. Those are the books I read in November. Pretty good reading month for me personally, and I enjoyed everything I read. So I'm looking forward to December and in the new year to read more. Hopefully, because I feel like I'm on this streak of actually enjoying reading again. So let me know what books you've read recently, what books you plan to read in December and into the new year. And thank you so much for watching, guys. I will catch you next time. Bye.